So guys, we've really been hammering home about recruiting lately, and now as we're getting into the winter, getting closer to spring, I wanted to talk about just how important this time of year is for the 27 class. Now obviously it's really important for the 26 class. Again, for 28s, they're a little bit far away still. Not going to be a huge year for them. But 26s and then 27s, it's really important. Now, why 27s? Because this summer, they can be seen by coaches, and then come August 1st, they can start to communicate. So if you're not tackling this winter and spring correctly, it's going to affect your recruiting process because of that. So what's number one? Most important thing for a guy in the 27 class that's trying to get noticed this summer. Again, what's the most important thing? Number one, awareness. Now, coaches need to be aware of who you are. If they don't know who you are, how are they going to get out to see you? How are they going to get out to get an evaluation of you? And now, obviously, at ESA, that's what we do. We build the awareness for all of our clients. But let's say you're not working with anybody, you're doing this yourself. How are you going to build that awareness? Good idea. Get to some camps. Get to some camps. Make sure it's a camp where coaches are going to be there. But if you don't have anyone with connections to coaches, across the country or across the region you're in, getting to a camp is going to give you the best chance to at least get on a school's radar if you show out. If you don't, if all of a sudden you have a bad showing, again, don't go to a camp unless you've been doing your baseball stuff, you've been working out, you're in baseball shape. Don't show up to a camp without picking up a baseball for 3 months. It will not go well, and they're not going to remember you, let alone they may be like, yeah, that will write that guy's name off completely. So that's the most important thing, guys, is you want these coaches to know who you are before the summer so they can schedule it out to go see you. Again, coaches are not just randomly walking around school or walking around fields this summer or any summer. They know who they're going to see, especially in these massive tournaments. You guys have heard me talk about it. They know who they're going to see. So if they don't know who you are, you gotta get lucky that they show up to a field that they're going to see someone else, and then you do well enough that they notice you. Right? We don't want that to happen. We're trying to be proactive in our career. We're trying to be proactive in the process. They need to know who we are. So number two, guys, and this is also just vitally important for the guys in the 27 class, your development. Right now, especially now, if you're in the 27 class, you haven't been hitting the weight room, you're not getting serious with your baseball work, that needs to start now. Because again, as far as a kid your age in 27 class, you're going to get the biggest gains you can get from the weight room. If you couple that with doing, your baseball work 2 or 3 times a week, 4 times a week, you're going to, and by the time the summer starts, you're going to be a totally different looking player on the field. So development, that's got to be something that's vitally important to you as well. Obviously, again, we help our players with that, understanding what they need to improve, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're doing that on your own, go to your facility. If they have a weight room or in school, make sure you're getting in the weight room, one, and make sure you're getting baseball work done. You're taking ground balls if you're an infielder. You're shagging BP in the outfield if you're an outfielder running down fly balls. You're getting your batting practice work in, and you have someone that you trust, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, that is going to develop your swing as well. You guys have heard me talk about having an adjustable swing path, a lot of that stuff. Be careful who you trust on the internet or at a facility. There's plenty of guys that really know what they're talking about and can really help you, but there's also probably a lot more of them that are not getting you any better. You're either going to be stagnant or you're getting worse. So just be careful with that. But your development, especially at this age, because if you can start really getting the idea jammed in your head that every day do something to get better, 2 years from now you're gonna be exactly where you want to be. So take that into your control. That's something that you can control right away. Now, as we get into number 3, guys, again, we talked about the reason this summer for the 27 class is so important is because this is kind of that first impression that a coach makes. That a coach goes out to see you and thinks, all right, again, guys, most guys are not going to get calls August 1st after this coming summer. Just most guys aren't. But if a coach thinks you're an interesting player, you're going to be on that follow list, and that's really the goal for the summer. Now, if you're an elite player, you're probably going to get some calls, maybe even a few offers. But if not, you may get a call, you may not, but you've built that foundation of interest from schools. That way, you know what you're doing going into the next summer. Again, most kids are going to commit in that 26 summer or in the fall for the 26 class. Most kids in the 26 class are going to commit next summer or next fall. That's just the reality of it, guys. So as a 27, don't feel like you're behind the 8 ball if August 1st comes around and you don't hear anything from a school or you don't have any offers. Everyone's process is different, but everything's slowed down now because of the portal. So don't freak out, don't panic when August 1st comes around and you feel like you're not getting as much attention as you should. Everyone's different, but everything's slowed down now because of all these changes. So number 3, guys, it's patience. Patience in the process. Trust in the process. You got to be patient. And this is what I mean by that. And this is something I always told hitters. You look like you're up there trying to get 3 hits with one swing. You can only get 1. Be patient in the process. Don't try to do too much. Maybe you got coaches at your game. Just be you. Maybe you're going to a camp. You're trying to impress them. Don't try to do too much. Any player that does that ends up just looking bad. You're pressing, you're trying to hit every ball out in BP, and you're swinging and missing and popping them up. Just be you. Do the things that you do well. Don't put any other pressure on yourself. Have the same approach that you've had that's made you so successful. Again, if you need help with that, go to my videos on it. But you got to be patient, guys. You got to trust the process. Trust the process, because everyone's process is different. Now, again, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's not. There's not times where you're going to be frustrated. There's not times where, again, we deal with our clients sometimes. Guys go to a camp and ball out, looks great, everything looks great, and the school's just they gotta wait a little bit. That happens, but you can't let that get you down. You have to just keep working through it. Okay, so trust in the process. Lastly, guys, and this is kind of one of the more underrated things, but for 27s, guys, there's a good chance you guys you're in that wave that we're already seeing scholarship money go up at the Power 4 level, but it's going to be pretty easy to kind of project that as we get farther and farther away from all these changes, more and more scholarship money is going to slowly kind of trickle into college baseball, even from schools that right now aren't going to be moving the needle up at all with the money. So you guys are going to probably get access to more funds than the 26 class, definitely the 25 class. So it's going to make it easier for you to be flexible in your decisions on schools. So the last advice I would give you is just do due diligence. Do your due diligence on any school that is showing you interest. Because, guys, this is the most important decision you'll make in your life at this point. You got to get married and stuff like that, whatever. But this is a very important decision. And again, one of the things we do with our clients is when it comes down to making that decision, we take them through all the pros and cons, coaching styles, roster makeup. So we have an idea of, okay, where the best possible fit may be. Again, because our number one goal for all of our clients, play right away as a freshman, be a stud, hopefully get to pro ball. Don't go to a big school and sit the bench. We could care less if you go to a big school if you're going to sit the bench. Ultimately, our clients will make that decision, but we will advise them on where we think the best fit is for them. And the reason we've had a lot of success, we have a lot of guys in pro ball, in the big leagues, is because of that advice and people taking that advice. Sometimes we're wrong, but most of the time we have a pretty good idea of what we're doing. Now, so if you don't have someone advising you, make sure you're looking make sure you're going on your visit. You're looking at your campus. You're going and seeing the facilities. You're seeing where you're going to live in the dorms. This is something that you could see yourself doing for 4 years. Again, you gotta act like, even with the portal now, you're making a 4-year decision. Okay, so don't be like, well, I'm going to go to school for 1 year and then I'm going to transfer. Make it like you're making that decision like it's going to be a 4-year decision. That doesn't mean it has to be, but that's the way you need to think about it. And then look up the roster. Look up, guys that may be projected to get drafted. Stuff like that. I mean, that's going to help you make an informed decision, especially at your position. Know what the depth looks like. Know what the recruiting class in front of you looks like. So you have an idea of what the depth at your position is going to be. And here's a good way to look at it. If, for example, there's a shortstop in the class in front of you, and then there's a sophomore that's starting right now, meaning when that guy, shortstop in front of you, gets to campus, that sophomore is going to be a junior, and if he's a draft eligible guy, he may go in the draft. So that shortstop behind him is not going to have any playing time. So what that means is when you get to campus, sure, that guy's got a year on you, but he doesn't have a track record of playing time that's going to really kind of give him the edge in winning that spot. So you're looking at, okay, how many people am I competing against that have, a decent amount of playing time, have put up good numbers, and that's going to help you make your decision. So guys, I hope this helps show you guys kind of what's really the most important thing for the 27 class. Again, in the comments, any questions? You guys have been asking a lot of questions in the comments. I appreciate it. I'll answer them. Leave them in there. Thanks for the support, and we'll be back with another video again soon.